Hi, and welcome to Inderes TV. Today's show, we have a special guest from PYN Eliten Fund, she is Maggie Yi, and we are going to talk about the Vietnamese banking sector and overall market situation in Vietnam. Welcome, Maggie, to Inderes TV.
Hello, this is Maggie from PYN Elite Fund. Very nice meeting everyone here.
Good to have you here. Maggie, I would like to begin with about your role in PYN Elite. Could you tell a little bit more, what do you do in the fund?
Sure, I'm analyst with PYN Elite for 9 years already. And at this very moment, I cover Vietnamese stocks with focus on the banking sector, other financial sectors such as brokers and insurance. And I also cover retail sector and the technology sector in Vietnam.
All right, and if I have understood right, you have been in Vietnam just a few days ago.
Yes, correct. I just came back from Hanoi to Bangkok right now.
Did you meet companies, or what was the schedule there?
Oh yeah, in June, I was in Vietnam twice. I spent 1 week in Ho Chi Minh and I met 15 companies in Ho Chi Minh. And then I spent another week in Hanoi meeting around 10 companies in Hanoi, company visit.
What other members are part of your portfolio team in PYN Elite?
Sure, there are 5 members in portfolio team, and first there is our portfolio manager Patrick,
Yes.
And then we have 3 equity analysts, and then 1 data analyst. So the 3 equity analysts cover different sectors and companies, and we constantly recommending buy and sell and company updates to our portfolio manager, and our data analyst support the whole team with data request.
Are you everybody located in Bangkok or different places all over the world?
Patrick, me, and the data analyst Huang, we 3 located in Bangkok office, and we have 2 equity analysts located in Ho Chi Minh office.
All right, good to hear. Then let's start about talking about Vietnamese banks and banking sector. Like we all know that Vietnamese banks play a big role in PYN Elite fund holdings, and many analysts are expecting strong growth in the coming years. What are the biggest market drivers in the Vietnamese banking sector?
Sure, I think I would say the 2 biggest driver for the Vietnamese banks are first retail sector, and the second is the SME companies. For the retail lending products such as mortgage, car loan, credit cards, the driver behind such segment is first the increasingly growing customer base. Vietnam has the fastest growing middle class population in the world. So for the past 5 years, its middle income class population has been growing at between 10 to 15% per year. So on one hand, you have every year your customer base is becoming bigger, and on the other hand, the product penetration is still at low level, be it mortgage, car loan, credit cards, or the insurance selling through the bank channels. So the penetration is low and the growth is very strong. Just giving you an example, the car ownership in Vietnam, for every 1,000 people, 30 people has a car. And the number here in Thailand is 120. So we're expecting all the big growth in all these products. For example, the mortgage product has been growing at 20% per year. And the credit cards, the data is not available, but the banks doing the best in credit card segment for the past 2 years. Each year, their credit cards volume has been growing at 50 to 60% per year. So that's the retail sector. And for the SME sector, I think Vietnamese banks is still trying to figure out ways to serve the SME and the micro SME better, because SME and micro SME, they form the backbone for the Vietnamese economy. But at this moment, Vietnamese banks tend to give out big ticket size lending to companies that have collateral, such as land or real estate. They are still trying to figure out ways to lend to those companies based on their business result, cash flow statement, income statement. So they are still trying to tap into the unmet needs for these big SME companies. So I would say the retail sector and the SME are the two biggest drivers for the Vietnamese banks in the coming years.
That sounds interesting. Because the growth is so fast, is there some issues with credit losses or regulation? Could you tell about more these themes?
Sure. In terms of credit loss, for the past decades, in my observation, it's actually getting safer and safer. First, the NPL, that's non-performing loan, bad loan for the whole sector, has been on a steadily decreasing trend, maybe like a little bit fluctuation during the COVID time, but it's on the downturn. And also for the past decade, every Vietnamese bank learned better. So they chose customers better. I would say 10 years ago, banks like to lend to the state-owned enterprise for their project. Maybe that's not the best project, but now they shift their focus lending to the very competitive private companies and the retail customers. So their lending practice and lending customer group is getting better. And also each year with their big profit, they set aside capital buffer to absorb future losses. So actually in my mind, the credit loss is not a concern in Vietnamese sector. Banking sector.
In Europe, banking regulation is really strict. Is that how's that in Vietnam?
It's actually Vietnamese central bank is doing quite a good job in managing the banks.
Yeah.
They at this moment they still control each banks how much credit growth they could have in a given year, and at the same time they keep a close eye on the bank lending practice and the NPL development.
In your portfolio, there are many banks. What factors you mainly emphasize when you think, is this bank good for you as an investment?
Right. There are many aspects we look at, but
Yes.
My boss Patrick, he has a saying. He always tell analysts that we are in the business of making money. So we could recommend any stock to him as long as we see there's investment opportunity there. So he challenge all the analyst team to keep our radar open and stay sharp. So when it comes to banks, I would say I take a rather holistic approach. I look at the bank's earnings and ROE. I also look at the bank's valuation, and I also look at many intangibles such as the management capability, background, track record, their investment into technology, all this taken into consideration. We have 4 banks in the portfolio. I would say each bank has their unique story, unique reason why we're in the banks. But overall, the banks, the 4 banks, the average ROE is 23%, which is higher than the Vietnamese banks' average. And at this moment, they are trading at a forward price to book ratio 1.2, which is very attractive.
How many listed banks are in Vietnam at the moment?
I think there are 13.
13, all right.
Yeah, 13 listed banks, yes. And there are more non-listed banks.
Yeah, of course. And you said that you have 4 banks at the moment in your portfolio. Yes. All right, yes. What kind of future expectation you have with your current holdings? Could you tell those?
Wow, I actually just had a look of all our holding banks. I think they could deliver good earning growth, like a high double-digit growth for the next 3 years, with an ROE at least 23% for the coming 3 years. So in my mind, their upside is more than 150% for the next 3 years.
That sounds good. What kind of risk is that if there's a global downturn? How would it affect Vietnamese bank?
Vietnamese bank growth correlates with Vietnamese economy a lot. So when there is a downturn in the US and the European market, in my view, it might giving some pressure for the demand of Vietnamese export. But at the same time, what I observe is Vietnamese is so competitive as a country to getting the world export market share. Each year they are getting more market share from other countries such as China. In fact, more and more companies are setting up factory or shifting their production facility from China to Vietnam. So I felt if the world is going at a downturn, it could put some pressure for the demand for Vietnamese export. But at the same time, it mitigated by Vietnamese competitiveness in gaining the world export market share. So that I felt like it's okay, the impact will be mild. And Vietnamese domestic economy is a very strong economy, and this year has been recovering very, very fast. So the first quarter Vietnam GDP grew at 5%. Second quarter, we are forecasting it could grow between 5.5 to 6%. So it has been very healthy and strong, the Vietnamese economy, which created a very good situation for our banks.
Yeah, growth numbers are a lot higher than in, for example, in Europe, in Vietnam.
Yes, you're right.
Yes. When you were in Vietnam last time, what kind of message you got from companies in Europe and USA? There has been downside confidence between consumers and companies.
Right. So if you look at the macro number in Vietnam, in May, the Vietnamese retail sales set a new high record. It grew more than 20% year on year. And for the first 5 months of this year, the car sales in the whole country grew by more than 50%. And the manufacturing PMI indicator is at almost 55. It's another 4-year record high. So when I visit other companies, the airport of Vietnam, in May, their passenger volume, domestic passenger volume, has set almost an all-time high record. And our core holding Vincom Retail, that's the largest shopping mall operator in Vietnam, they see significant recovery of the visitors to their shopping mall in April and May since the economy opened. And as a lady, I like jewelry, earrings, and necklace. And there is a listed company called PNJ. They are the leading jewelry retailers in Vietnam. For the first 5 months, their sales of the jewelry products grew by 50% year on year. So I think both the consumer and the companies are very confident about their business. That's the overall feeling I got. And when you're walking on the street of Vietnam, the airport is completely packed. The shopping mall, the restaurant, everything is very packed. So I just felt like, good sentiment.
Yeah. During this year, the stock market in global and also in Vietnam, it has been a rocky year. Could you clarify the latest event in Vietnam stock markets, for example, the government's actions against the stock manipulation?
Sure. Vietnamese market actually is mostly affected by what you have said, the government taking actions on the stock market manipulation. I could give you 2 examples that 2 high-profile arrests. One group, they are well known for manipulating stock market. The chairman for this company, he has asked his assistant to borrow more than 20 individuals' identity card to open close to 500 different stock trading accounts. So what he does is trading between all these 500 accounts, creating artificial supply and demand for the shares he trade with, and then he made big profit at the expense of the small retail investors. So the government stepped in and want to stop such stock manipulation activities which cause harm to, other investors. And another group is corporate bond. So it's a not listed company that we are not familiar with before this incident. So this company issued corporate bonds, but they use the proceeds different than what they promised to their investors. Also, they issued these bonds to small retail investors, which are not qualified as investors for corporate bonds per Vietnamese regulation. So it creates potential default risk from the regulator's eyes. So the regulator also tried to stop such behavior, and they made some high-profile arrest. And in May, they also fired the CEO of Ho Chi Minh Security Exchange and the head of State Security Commission because they allow such wrongdoings happen under their watch. So, when we chat with Vietnamese leading companies in banks sector, real estate sector, or security sector, they all felt like that's the right thing to do because it modernizes Vietnam capital market, protect other people's interests, such as retail investors' interests and foreign funds' interests. But when they are doing this, it does cause panic among the investors. So there are when people don't know what's happening, there are a lot of rumors and misunderstanding circulating in the market, and then all this has been causing the panic sell for retail investors, and some highly leveraged investors got margin call. So we have seen this correction very steep and fast. And when it comes to corporate bond, the Ministry of Finance has been working so hard on improving the regulations. They have already proposed the 6th version of the corporate bond regulations. We think it could finalize somewhere second half of this year. So when this get finalized, we felt all this will move on and business will be as usual. But then again, that's only a small part of stock market manipulation. The rest of the Vietnamese economy is running, as smooth as usual. So
the fundamentals are solid. No need to worry about that.
There's no such need to worry.
Yes. How do you see the market situation from now on, and what kind of investment opportunities you may have?
In my mind, currently it creates the market is full of opportunities and a bargain. When I look at Vietnamese market for the past 8 years, currently the forward PE is 11 times. But since 2014, the entire 8 years, the average forward PE is 15 times. So now we are at the second lowest point of the Vietnamese market valuation. The lowest point is March 2020. That's the COVID panic sell-off time.
Yes.
So like for me, I'm just really happy we have a lot of bargaining opportunities so we can buy the dip. In fact, during this panic sell-off, the foreign investor understand the market for April, May, June, when the 3 months of correction, the foreign are net buyers, and their participation has increased from 10% from end of last year to 17% as of now.
Have the fund made new investment?
Our fund.
Yes, PYN Eliten. Yes.
Yes. We add some positions of the existing holdings, and we also have new companies.
All right.
New investment. Yes.
Thanks for Maggie all your answers, and I hope
Thank you,
good
Auntie.
summer in Bangkok.
Thank you. It's always summer hot and hotter.
Yes, in Finland at the moment is also pretty hot, but I don't know, is that hot in Bangkok right now?
Right. Yeah, we have today the temperature is 35 degrees, I guess.
All right, there's about 30.
Okay.
Thank you, Maggie, and see you again.
Thank you, Auntie. See you.